Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome. On this week's Superbike Show, we had Iain Hopcroft, the Moto Rapido Ducati team boss, on the show to talk about what 2017 was like for him and what 2018 might hold for the team.
2017, Iain, not been amazing. Injuries at the start of the season, injuries at the end. How would you sum up your year with John Hopkins?
Yeah, I mean, you know, every day with John is exciting, you know. He's a crazy character, but it's just unfortunate, the crashes at the beginning and obviously the big crash then that obviously ended up with him being in hospital, which is never good. No, but we had some good results in between. You know, we've got plenty to work on, definitely over the winter. But it, you know, apart from the crashes, it's been pretty good. You know, the team is not just John as well. We've had, you know, Thomas Strudwick, who's been amazing in the garage, you know. So when we have been down on results on the Superbike, Thomas has picked us back up and brought us home some silverware, you know. So it's all been pretty good.
Exactly, and it's not been a total disaster, of course. John Hopkins had his own podiums as well. At Silverstone was the first one.
Yeah, at Silverstone and then again at Alton Park, you know. So we've lifted some silverware in the Superbike category and, you know, we hope to continue that spell of silverware for any coming future, you know.
Absolutely. Some people might think that the bike has been poorly prepared this year because the amount of technical issues, you could say, but it's not been like that. I understand it's been an ECU issue completely out of your control. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really had any technical issues this year. We had, obviously, the only problem we had was at Knock Hill, which was an ECU fault. It's just one of those things, you know. And Snetterton, which dropped a valve. It was just one of those unfortunate things. Bit of over rev on a few laps, and these things happen, you know. But out of all of the other teams and manufacturers, I think we were one of the best out of non-technical failures throughout the season, you know. Most people had engine blow-ups and stuff like that, which we don't seem to suffer with, you know. So we're pretty good on that front, to be honest.
Exactly, and unfortunately for you guys as well, a lot of the ECU problems have been in camera, in the public eye. So, you know, it's not been a fair representation where everyone else may have had exactly the same issues that you've had on the exact amount of same times as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's one of those, you know, people generally only watch, obviously, like the qualifying and the race side of stuff, and unfortunate for us, it happens to happen on those points, you know, where everybody's watching.
Yeah, that is, but it doesn't represent what the team are. But before we go on and more about maybe next year's side of things, how is John Hopkins? Because that was a massive accident he took at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, I mean, crazy accident. You know, John, we picked John up on Friday. You know, me and Steve Moore, the team owner, picked him up on Friday. He couldn't wait to get out. He's been in there a month, you know. Being bedridden for a month is crazy. So to bust him out of there, you know, the first thing he did was, you know, wheeling the wheelchair down the hallway. You know, he's that kind of guy. You know, broken back, 2 broken legs, and he's still rolling it, you know. That's why he's a monster athlete, you know. He's a complete loon. But you know, he seems in good spirits. He's got some work to do. He's going to get back to the States now, talk to his surgeons and get on a rehab program, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but is there a chance that he can come back to motorcycle racing? It's not going to be a career-ending injury, is it?
Oh God, no. He'll be back fighting fit soon enough. You know, he needs to go back and get some lead times with his surgeons for sure. But John Hopkins is not out by any stretch of the imagination.
And it'd be a massive loss to British Superbikes if he was to sit a season out or even go elsewhere and do other things. But you're not just in the Superbikes, of course. Talk to us more a little bit about Moto Star. It's been a very successful year for you. Lots of silverware, as you say, for Thomas Strudwick.
Yeah, I mean, it's been fantastic. You know, Wilf's always wanted to to try and develop some young talent. And we were very fortunate with Lorne from Case Moto, who came to us with Thomas at the beginning of, or the end of 2016, really, and sort of wanted to create this collaboration and try and push Thomas on a little bit further, you know. And, I'm so glad that we did. Wolf couldn't be happier with it. I couldn't be happier with it. He's gelled with the team. He's progressed so well, you know, and like you say, he's brought him a lot of silverware. We've tried to educate him in the ways of, you know, the garage and the debriefs and set up and media, but he's so good at that kind of stuff anyway. It's sickening for a guy's, well, just turned 16 years old, you know. He's amazingly good at it, which is a great credit to him, and, you know, awesome for us as well, you know, because he absorbs everything, especially being that kind of age. It's been a really good project.
And you can see that the results have paid off, though, because he's gone on to be selected to the British Talent Cup. That's got to be massive to you guys as well.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, you know, Thomas is the one that puts in all the hard work, all the training, you know, all the listening. You know, we can teach him as much as we can, but if he's not willing to listen, he's never going to learn. But he has. He's knuckled down. He's listened to everything. You know, he's listened to Jen from Full Throttle Performance, who works for us. So she does his nutrition plan and does some of his training and, you know, and his physio and everything. You know, we try and get him as good as we can be. And he's just excelled this year. And yeah, to get into the British Talent Cup just shows how hard I think he's worked this year to do that.
Yeah, and not just has he gone on to do the great stuff in BSB, and he's also been selected for the British Talent Cup. Will there still be some support for Moto Rapido when he goes on to the British Talent Cup next year? Will you still be able to give him a bit of either help, as in assistance, hands-on stuff, or financial stuff, or whatever, to get to his next goal after the British Talent Cup? Is he like is he your baby that you want to take everywhere? You want to like push him as far as he can go?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, you know, we started this project with Thomas, and we'd love to continue it through to wherever it may lead him until he tells us to go away. You know, it's that kind of thing. But you know, we'd love to see it as far as we can go with him, wherever he wants to take it. You know, wherever next year, the year after takes him. He's part of the team now, so he's not going to leave that easy.
Absolutely. And talking of the team, we're going to talk a little bit about 2018 now. There was some rumours going around the paddock there was an expansion project. Is that true, or have you thought about it?
Yes, something I do want to talk to everyone about is for 2018 I've employed a brand manager because we, as Moto Rapido, we are first and foremost a Ducati dealer, and there seems to be sort of some misconnection between us being a Ducati dealer and the race team, and that we're either two separate people or, you know, first and foremost, we are a Ducati dealer, and all the work gets done for the race team, all the preparation work, all the engine building, that kind of stuff is actually done at the Moto Rapido base at Winchester, you know, where the dealership is. So where you would take your bike to have serviced is where John Hopkins' bike and Thomas Strudwick's bike is currently looked after and being prepped and repaired, etc., you know.
Exactly, and it's the same people that prepare the British Superbike, or some of the same people that prepare John Hopkins' British Superbike, that can tune and service the normal road-going public machines as well. Yeah,
that's right. So, you know, we've got all this talent in the workshop. You know, we've got three main technicians. All of them have worked on the race bike, either it being the Superbike, the Moto3, or the Ducati 959s that we also look after. You know, so we've got a wealth of knowledge within there with regards to race stuff and road stuff. And, you know, my new brand manager is a guy called Chandler Warren Gray, who's going to be trying to make that connection happen between the race team and the workshop, and vice versa for the showroom and everything. Plus, get us more involved in track days and press days and all that kind of stuff. You know, alongside me and working together.
That's a good signing, you could say, because he's been in the paddock last year, of course, with Suzuki. And actually, I can tell people at home and listening in, he will be on the show later. Chandler Warren Gray will be on, ex-team manager for Bill Bay Suzuki last year, which ran Bradley Ray. But back to Moto Rapido, Ian, will there be a second bike out there next year? I think a lot of people are speculating and wanting to know the answer to that question.
In the Superbike, no. And
okay.
the simple reason is, with the V4 coming out in 2019, it seemed a bit silly for us to create a second bike with a whole second team, because it's pretty much more than just doubling the size of the team, more mechanics and stuff, to learn about a bike that is only going to be around for the next season before we flip to the V4. We have everything. We have, nothing will transfer in the bodywork, footrest kits, exhaust. Obviously none of that stuff will transfer. So the bike will be totally different in 2019. So it seemed really non-beneficial for us as a dealer and as a race team, to push the current V-twin Panigale, because we don't sell them anymore as a Panigale R. Which is the bike that we actually race, the 1199 Panigale R. They're not made anymore. So again, it's very difficult to buy one.
Exactly. What's the main characteristics that you're looking for, though? What's the main differences between the V4 and the V-twin that you run now?
Characteristics
that
really, everybody is hunting for horsepower. I think always is, the new V4 is going to be some astonishing out the box beast. 225 horsepower, 26 horsepower, as a road going machine. So by the time that hits the track, Lord only knows. We currently sit around 215 to 220, figures wise for our current V-twin. So this is whole next level horsepower stuff.
That's a very exciting prospect, and I look forward to get into that in 2018 when we probably have you back on the show when we talk about next year as well. Talking of next year,
yeah, definitely.
Rider lineup. It's an obvious question. Is John Hopkins going to stay with your team next season?
We have a plan to go racing as Moto Rapido, but that is as far as we've got, to be honest.
Okay.
Obviously, John is currently not fit to do anything but wheel himself around in a wheelchair, so can't really comment on that at the moment for John, even John riding, but even for us. But we plan to go racing with one Superbike, and so far supporting Thomas in his British Talent Cup, but that's our plan so far.
Will there be more support for the Cool Fab Championship? Because of course you have your own little setup there running Ronnie Walker.
Yeah, we do. We have a couple of bikes out in the Cool Fab Racing mini series, which we hope to continue with in 2018. And again, with Chandler on board, we hope to have more of a collaboration with that, do more open days, and be able to put a little bit more input into that this year, which we also will do with Pete Extance from Bournemouth Kawasaki, because he also puts a lot of time and effort into that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's great to have the integration as well between the superbikes and the grassroots of British racing. How important is it to establish that connection between the stars of tomorrow, the young ones, and to the stars of today, such as John Hopkins and yourselves at Moto Rapido?
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely. This is where Thomas came from. Thomas came from the Cool Fab Racing series. He made his move up to the KTM Cup, the Milwaukee Cup, then into the Moto 3, and look where he's got now. He's got an entry into the British Talent Cup. And it's just amazing. We want to promote that. Bradley Ray's done the same. We just want to we've got to keep these kids doing it. And it's very difficult because it's very expensive. So everything that we can do to help, I mean, we can put time and effort in because we don't have, funds to share, but other sponsors love getting involved in that kind of stuff, So, when they sponsor us as a team, it's not just about the Superbike that helps us do all these other projects, that help us help Thomas with the Cool Fab, any of that kind of stuff, which is great.
I'm interested to know your thoughts on the new Junior Supersport Championship that comes in next year. 2018 will see what is effectively a Supersport 300 Championship. Do you think that's another great addition to the paddock, of course, for British Superbikes? But is it another credit and another route that riders may want to take, and especially the young riders, to get to where their goal is, whether that be World Superbikes or MotoGP?
Yeah, definitely, because any of the kids kind of get lost in the middle somewhere. You know, they go from the cool fab stuff, and then they can go to KTM and the Moto3, and some of it is not affordable maybe for them. And the Super Sport, I think, will be a nice affordable class and be able to get more people into the sport, you know, just to have that wider range of talent being able to come in.
Well, some people may say...
I think Mr. Higgs has done a really good job of pulling that together.
He really has. And one thing that people may not know is, as well as the Junior Supersport Championship coming in, the regulations are the same, so it's quite transferable to the World Paddock. But one thing that I want to get your insight and knowledge on, Ian, is that you run a standard class Moto3 machine. Why would you not be interested in going to the KTMs of Moto3 and being in the not standard class, competing with the likes of Redline and the KTMs up there?
Well, I mean, for us as a Ducati dealer, the whole non-standard Moto3 class has no relevance to us. You know, or the standard Moto3 doesn't really have any relevance to a Ducati dealership. But there's no need to make that step. You know, Thomas has proven that being on a standard bike can be quicker than half the field on non-standard bikes. I just think, for me personally, the standard system is amazing, and if we can push that, get into somewhere like the British Talent Cup, and that then forms us into more Red Bull rookies or into Europe, into the MotoGP paddock, into that scenario, then they can start pushing on to some of the open class stuff. For us as a Ducati dealership, we don't know enough about the open class Moto3 to get involved into it just yet. You know, we've got enough with wanting to deal with the Superbike and the technicality that goes with that, and the 959s, and then what will be a V4, super stock bike maybe in 2019. All these kind of things is enough to keep us busy without having to get into something that we don't sell it from the shop. So it's also no benefit to Moto Rapido as a dealership.
That's very true, because at the end of the day, the only way you're going to sell bikes is if you prove that they're winners on the circuits. That's what Superbike racing was initially formed to do. On 2018, though, we spoke early in the year, and you had wildcards planned in 2017. Would that be another option for 2018, to put your British Superbike rider, whoever that may be, into the Donington Park round of World Superbikes to improve your brand image? I suppose China might be pushing for that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, like I said to you in that interview, it's if we're placed well within the British Championship and we're on good form, then it's a really good thing to do, like Jake did this year. I think it's a really good thing. It's a good ego boost, a good positive step forward with it, really. Just to be able to put your nose in there and say, we might just be a Ducati dealer from Winchester, but we can mix it with these guys. Yeah, we'd love to do that, of course.
Is there much difference?
But like I say, it all depends.
Is there much difference between your bikes and the Paul Bird Motorsport bikes? Because some people might say that the Paul Bird bikes are the factory bikes, but is that the case, or are you and Paul identical?
As we always joke in our team, we love the word factory, because everything to do with Ducati factory is, there's factory parts and we pay for them. Same as Paul Bird does. And our bike is no different than Shakey's, apart from some personal preferences, but okay. Engine specs are the same, the bike is the same. Obviously we all run on the same tyres. It's just the man sat on the seat. that makes the big difference.
Okay, that's very interesting. That will lead people to believe that there is no big factory team, so to speak, because you have the same access to the parts that Paul Bird does. So that's an interesting note to end on. Similar to the
Ducati
BMW.
are very good like that. Yeah, Ducati are very good like that. And I think BMW are the same. Ducati is a family. And we have been part of that family for a very long time now. Being a Ducati dealer and racing for 10 years now, Ducatis, we have a very strong bond with Ducati course, the factory, and if we want something, we can have it. If it's a benefit to us, the factory will tell us and say, actually, guys, we think this will really work for you. It's been really good to have the PBM bikes in the paddock because it's brought Giovanni Krupi, who is Shaky's crew chief, to BSB full time. So we have access to Giovanni. We're able to talk and stuff, because we're good friends with him anyway as a team, because we've had him as a chief before. So he, we all talk and informed of updates and that kind of stuff, So it's really good to have that extra couple of bikes in the paddock because they can then see what works at the British circuits. Because obviously, world circuits are totally different. Yeah, they get to Cadwell Park and stuff. It's not the same as Knock Hill. It's not the same as Imola.
Yeah, exactly. There's not much that replicates Knock Hill on the World Championships. Just to summarise, then, really briefly, what can we expect from Moto Rapido Ducati in 2018? Is it going to be top 10s, pushing for the showdown, podiums, or are we looking at a title charge?
We are aiming for the showdown, but anybody can win it, as was proven this year. There's lots of people out there. The top 20 are super fast. We're aiming for the showdown. We haven't made it there thus far in the Moto Rapido list, so showdown is first, and then we'll go from there, but not to get overexcited.
Brilliant to hear from you, Ian. As ever, insightful, and all the best for 2018.
Thanks,
and all
Peter.
The best to John Hopkins, who currently, as you say, is probably sat at home in his wheelchair.
Yeah, loving it. He's probably eating cans of biscuits and drinking tea.
Well, that's not good news for you because you want your ride to stay fit as well.
He needs to put some weight on. He'll be fine.
Ian, thank you very much.
Iain Hopcroft, the Moto Rapido Ducati team boss, telling Kiko what life was like in BSB in 2017 and what we can expect from the team in 2018. Well, for more interviews like this and for the live Superbike show, head to our website, motorsport.radio, for the very latest in BSB news and our live visual radio shows.
This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation and have your say on motorsport-radio.com.